name's Adam Hill. I'm a mobile app developer for MV Transportation now. And I get to build Xamarin apps for a living, which is very, very cool. So what we're basically going to talk about today is live coding. So that's basically editing apps on the fly, writing apps on the fly as they're running your emulator. First of all, who here does Xamarin? You know what Xamarin is. You know what Xamarin is. You know what Xamarin is. You do. You do. All right. So the idea is to take a Xamarin app, run on an emulator, edit it on the fly, and see the results immediately. So you can be running on an emulator, you can be running on a device, you can be running in a browser. Just to Xamarin apps. So I've used app UWP and Xamarin. We have UWP normally on Windows, and you can write apps and edit them live in Visual Studio now. All right, so web browsers. This is one I won't be showing off. There's plenty of videos online. All the browsers now have developer tools. So literally you can bring up your browser over here. You can either have an editor, or you can actually edit HTML, CSS in the tool if you want to. Hit F5 and refresh, or there are even plugins you can have now, like what's the one for Visual Studio is called Web Connect or something. And you can turn it on and it basically will watch your file system, and when you refresh the files, it actually will reload the page and stuff for you automatically. It's like browser sync, that's what it's called. Browser sync. It's really cool. It's like I said, the worst case you do, you have to load the page. You have a file watcher, it reloads. Tools in even IE nowadays, Chrome and Firefox are insanely good. You can debug JavaScript, you can set breakpoints, you can do everything. You don't really need an IDE to edit HTML anymore, unless you want some kind of weird WYSIWYG thing to do things with. All right, the emulator. So on the emulator, what? Oh. Okay. All right. Is green. All right, so on Xamarin in emulator, we have a really cool tool called Xamarin Workbooks. Plugin for iOS on the Mac side, for iOS and Android. There's one on the PC side for Android. Soon there will be an iOS version, because we have, if you attended your talk last month, I assume you showed off the iOS simulator in Windows. Yes. So we have the iOS simulator in Windows. Still have to have a Mac, but you don't have to leave your Windows VM or your Windows desktop to actually see the Mac stuff and interact with it anymore. And so this is the first thing I'm going to show off. And since I'm on a Mac, I'm going to show it off in OS X. So the tool is called Xamarin Workbooks. And right now it's just literally a free download. You go grab it, you install it, and you get the ability to create notebooks, literally, on the fly that you can interactively program. So we'll do iOS first. Let's do... Which one do I want? I'm trying to think. That's concept devs. Let's do this one. This one's easier. All right, so what'll happen, it'll take a while to spin up. It'll start up the simulator, and it will load what it calls a workbook. All right, so the cool thing about workbooks are that they are just text files. There's nothing really weird and strange about it. I'm going to go find, I got to go find where this actually lives at. Let's see, file, open. This is in my folder. Okay, let's go to my folder. So, and Hill, projects, did mobile, live coding, yes. I'll open this up with a text editor. I'll make the fonts on text edit bigger. Let's see. Font, there we go, here we go. There it is right there. Change that to like 18. Is it? And I didn't change it. Oh, just zoom in normally? Okay, I'll do that too. Command or control? It's control, isn't it? Yeah. That's terrible. That's kind of weird. But anyway, the main thing I want to show is this is just a JSON file. So this is just JSON markup in here. There's a little bit of metadata at the front that say, hey, this is on iOS. A namespace, and it actually supports NuGet, so you can put NuGet package references in here. It'll load NuGet packages for you too. It's very cool. And all this is Markdown. So those of you kind of familiar with Markdown, it's just a simple markup language and stuff. It looks really good on GitHub. So if you can actually just show this text on GitHub, and it's actually formatted really nicely and stuff. And so this is literally a live piece of documentation that you can go, you can edit this. And you can execute code in it. And this starts off blank, and you start typing stuff in. So you use a command return on the Mac side to just execute all this stuff. So you just go through, and it's like you're writing code normally.
You might want to point out that it doesn't look on the screen, but it is actually highlighting the syntax. You can't place code projected very long.
What's it not doing?
It looks all black.
Oh, yeah. So Workbooks is based on Roslyn and stuff, so it has syntax highlighting. There's no actual help, I don't think, yet.
There's some simple IntelliSense.
Well, there's IntelliSense, but I'm talking about being able to hit F1 and go to documentation. Because another thing I'm going to show you in a second actually has the ability to actually look at documentation too. It's probably on the roadmap. It's just something they haven't gotten around to. But like I said, literally, this is you typing in and evaluating codes. If you're writing a program, except you get to write things about it. All right, so the first cool thing is they have visualizers for variables that you create. So you notice I have a piece of code here that created an animation view controller and set up a background color. And so it tries to let you visualize it. And it has different ways of visualizing it. You can visualize it in RGB, what the string representation is going to be. And you can just look at it as an object. So this is a really cool way for you to sit down and say, hey, I got a new API. Maybe you pair program with somebody, which would be really cool. And you can sit down together and show them how to use the Azure Authentication API for Windows Mobile, how to use UIKit or SceneKit or any of the APIs you have are available and stuff. You actually can go and explore things like this.
So this looks like it's a C# variant, or like very similar to.
No, it is C#.
Well, what I'm saying is it's a C# variant of what was showing off, like the playgrounds and stuff like that, like the Switch playgrounds and stuff like that. That's in like an Xcode. So you're putting in code, and
this came way before that. And there's been other systems that have been live programming systems too a long time ago. There's always been a mono REPL since I can remember mono being around, so where you could on the console you could open a mono REPL and you just start typing in stuff. We have an analogous thing on the Windows side, completely disconnected from Xamarin, called CSX, which was, who was it? It was Glenn Block. That's the only person I can remember because he came and gave a talk about it. But literally, you can have CSX files. You can edit them and execute them live. And I think he showed off when .NET ASP, the new ASP.NET was really, really young. He was showing how you could live code a web page, basically, which is editing files, saving them, and the browser would just react. There was a server running behind the scenes, but you would save it out, and the browser would just react and stuff. But he could write like view controllers and stuff, and they would instantly behave differently and stuff. So anyway, this is a little bit more rich version. Like I said, it's for those of you who are older, remember Donald Knuth, the guy who invented tech, and wrote some really great books on algorithmic complexity and stuff. He had a concept called literate programming, where you would write programs with code inside of it Oh, SceneKit would probably be pretty cool. So SceneKit, just to let you know, because someone was asking about games earlier. So SceneKit is Apple's effectively game framework and stuff. So it lets you add things in a scene, add lights, add all kinds of cool stuff, and lets you basically build a game. SceneKit. SceneKit. It is a subset. I think there's officially a thing called GameKit, which is all the stuff's included, but there's a sound and everything, collision detection, physics. There's even rudimentary AI for some reason they're writing. I don't know why. Like I said, Sharp is probably one of the better things to use from the iOS side. So start up. So that really quickly created a scene with a controllable camera with 3D objects in it, running as fast as the simulator can run it. And as you can hear, as my Macintosh's fans come on, it's really exercising the GPU and CPU. So anyway, that's kind of it. It's because this is literally an interactive shell. You can type stuff in. If you mess things up, it will. Like if I take let's see, just take semicolon off down here, and then we'll go execute again. It gives you error, and this is coming from Roslyn. So these exact same errors you will get in Visual Studio. Sometimes this is a really cool tool to sit down and take some piece of code that ain't working for some reason, shove it in here. Because this is, you can run regular console apps in here too. It supports Link, it supports everything. You connect to databases if you want to on the PC side when you run this. Everything in .NET is supported. Let's see. All right. All right, so we got simulator. Let me show you this on the, I gotta shut this down so it doesn't kill my CPU. And let me start it up on the PC side. Any questions? How this takes a little while to start up?
You include DLLs.
We'll show you that on the Windows side, but the answer is yes. So on the PC side, the way you load the Sharp framework is you actually load an assembly, but it's just literally it's #R. You load any DLL you want to. Right. So this side, you notice I get WPF as a thing, but I also get Android and iOS stuff I can do too. So file, open. On this side, I will show you WPF right fast. So, same IDE, same JSON files.
So this is a Xamarin specific IDE, so obviously
Well, so it's Xamarin Split in the sense that it was written by Xamarin, but what I loaded just now is WPF.
Okay.
So basically, this is interacting, and it lets you create WPF/UWP apps on the PC side and interact in the same way. We've had this capability in Visual Studio for a long time. We've always had the C# interactive window. And no, sorry, we've always had the immediate window, and now we have the C# interactive window as of 2013 service pack, whatever the last service pack was. So this is going to give you an example of Sharp. So #R lets you actually load the DLL. No. Then we will.
Where do you have to have it? the same folder.
I'm assuming this supports paths. I don't know. I never questioned that. It probably can't be on a network share. That's always been a universal .NET rule. Like I've never been able in Parallels to have the shared Parallels thing. So I could work on something on the PC side and work on something on the Mac side, like I would expect me to be able to do for any Xamarin application. You can't do that. Yeah, it can't be. It pretty much can't be. Why is it wanting to? Oh, it's control return on PC side. All right, just load DLL up. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Those. You load up a scene. This will basically create a WPF window, the Urho Sharp engine. There it is. Oh, that's a big window. That is larger than my window. That is not good. Oh well. Remember what the magic command window to move things? Is it Alt or Control?
You should just right-click the item in the taskbar. I believe is at least it used to.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'm showing it now. Oh, window button. Okay. So command does not necessarily directly, that minimizes and maximizes. Okay, it's going to be a 3D thing, so. Hold on.
Now you should be able to do it from your
Here. There you go. You can clip off the line. It's just going to be an Earth demo, so it's mainly just getting it on the screen. Okay, cool. All right, so you have a scene there, and this is a real, honest to God, WPF window. This is a cross-platform framework, so all this code, I didn't think about this, should also work on the Mac side. But it's just the DLL on this side when it creates windows, creates WPF windows. What we consider WPF windows. It's going to have a root, there's no XAML in this, but it's going to have a root. And it's going to have children in it and stuff. And Urho is Urho is a simple game programming language. So it's plenty fast enough for probably what you want to do or anyone else wants to do and stuff, but it's not immediate mode. So it's called retained mode. So basically all these nodes you create, you put things in the nodes and there's a hierarchy of them. So like you can build a chair. And so you build a back and you connect it to the seat and you connect the arms to it and you connect the legs to it and stuff. And if you grab the top node and move it around, it'll move everything else that's underneath it and stuff. A small distinction. All right. Create a color. Set the scale. Let's have we have a big blue sphere now. And it's going to add a texture to it. Texture, so you go there. You got a nice cool earth. It's going to add a moon now. What? It can. Swift has support for a scene kit and stuff. You just have to do it a different way. It's just a different set of APIs. So yeah, I got the moon rotating around the Earth. We're going to add an empty satellite. It's going to go create 3,600 satellites, according to NASA, that are in orbit randomly. So I got what? 3,602 objects running around. I'm going to do the Orlando one because it's really obnoxious. Just going to put up some more satellites. It's going to add some user interaction now. So if I click on the satellite, it'll get a little bit bigger. And just returning null because this doesn't return anything. So that's what you get out of the thing. So over here, click on one of these.
And this is all running on WPF.
So it's in a WPF window on an emulator.
Okay.
So,
Oh,
but underneath the covers, it's using DirectX and all the other cool stuff. It's just not going to run very fast in parallels.
I was going to say, it's really impressive that it's running this smooth considering how well 3D hardware emulation works under parallels.
Yeah. It passes it directly to the OpenGL renderer on the Mac, so it's not terrible. It only supports like DirectX 9, which isn't bad because we're not doing any shaders or anything really in here. So, all right, so that's it on the PC side of things. So this is, once again, this is Xamarin Workbooks on the PC, on the Mac side using iOS. And now, just for completeness sake, I'm going to show you guys over here. I killed it over here, didn't I? So one of the most underappreciated things in Xamarin's repertoire of being able to do things is that it actually supports writing Mac programs too. So I can sit down and just like I have access to all the iOS APIs in Xamarin, we actually have access to the Mac APIs now. And now it's completely free. It used to cost $1,900. Now it costs us nothing and stuff. So literally now you can sit down with C# and write Mac apps in the same way, using the same tools on the Mac. It's pretty cool. And they didn't leave this out when they did workbooks. I'm not going to go through this one line by line like I did the other one. I'm going to just load it up right fast just to show you. So this is going to create a simple outline for displaying data. So when you should come down to the notebook, you do this, it actually just runs the whole thing. There is a real, honest to God, Macintosh application written in Xamarin using good old fashioned C#.
You don't have any plans to support F# workbooks?
So F# is definitely the roadmap. The tool I'm going to show you in a little bit does actually support F# right now for doing iOS. Obviously, Xamarin supports F# now too. But right now, so what they could have done is taken what's called the F# compiler service, which is how F# is done now, and move it into workbooks, or they're just waiting for the F# team to get F# to use Roslyn now. Because that it's in the roadmap anyway to do. So we'll talk about F# here in a few months. All right, let's see where we are. So we're in the emulator. Local machine, I showed you in the Macintosh already. So let's see. Universal Windows Program. You also see UWA, Universal Windows Applications. That is what WPF has morphed into. Now, it is completely and totally different. So UWP apps are Windows Store applications. You also hear them called that. So they're an app. There's an AppX file that is the executable now. And it's a thing you can load up in the store, and it will run on any device that supports UWP. So it'll run on a Windows 10 mobile device. It'll run on a Surface or any modern Windows 10 PC. And IoT too, yes. Even with UIs too. There actually are IoT devices out there that have an HDMI connector and like a Raspberry Pi. And you can get UI. It's not a very fast UI, but you can get buttons, list boxes, color brushes, all the cool stuff we're used to and stuff. On a little itty bitty board. All right, let's go here. Okay, let's see how well this works. All right. So next thing I'm going to show you just what's it built into Visual Studio. Any questions? While we're waiting for the emulators to load things.
You tried out the Visual Studio preview.
I have 15 installed on my machine at home. I don't notice this whole lot of difference other than the install experience is a lot faster. That was about it. I noticed. I mean, I noticed features that are missing. But I've compiled probably 1 or 2 WPF apps and a UWP app in it, and it actually worked. Oh, I probably also used Visual Studio tools for Unity in it too to edit a Unity project. Kind of accidentally because I set the little loader doohickey to point to it, and I went and double clicked on a CS file and Unity actually loaded it. It worked. So, all right. So what I'm going to try to show you in here is UWP live editing. So, what I'm going to try to show y'all is the Xamarin Evolve app. And for any people who are wanting to get into Xamarin who aren't already programming it, such as my friend over here, the Evolve app is an incredibly good app to look at. It is using modern Xamarin practices. It was written for the Evolve conference that happened in March. Yeah, 3 weeks, like 4 weeks. Really, him and a designer basically wrote it. It has an Azure backend, which supported, how many people were Evolve?
There was 1 million requests in the entire month.
Okay, so an Azure mobile backend. It has unit testing and functional testing for Xamarin Cloud. It has a fake data front end, so you don't have to have Azure. I'm going to spin it up right now, and it's going to. Right now, it's going to actually talk to the old backend, but if you flip a switch at it, there's a bunch of JSON in there, and we'll just pretend to load. It's a really good example of how to fake out data access when you need to do unit testing. So it's really cool because all the unit tests run against. You have a separate set of unit tests that run against data when it's not connected. So all the unit tests run. It does all this really cool stuff, and it's really interesting to see. All right.
Something else you might want to point out is it was like $25 for the entire for Azure.
Yeah, for Azure for the whole thing. Yeah, it was incredibly. I heard it was $50, but anyway.
Here says it's 30. James says it's 25.
Okay.
I don't know how he says it.
That's a really good. I would really love someone to sit down and port it to AWS because there's a complete AWS. What?
In mobile services that they have.
Yeah, mobile services. My current job, we're gonna have to do AWS stuff, so that's even in my head right now. It's like, oh, it's a really cool app to do. All right, so this is loading. All right, so let's change this over to UWP.
So they use shared projects and portable class libraries.
Yeah, so there's just this fight kind of at Xamarin. So all the projects I've ever worked on were portable class libraries, for those who don't know what that is. So you take an assembly and you choose what's called a profile, which is a cross-section of all the different devices / frameworks you want to support. So there's like a profile that will support Windows Phone 8.1. There's a profile that will support all the way down to Silverlight. But you just basically give up modern features effectively for supporting lower features and stuff. There's this other thing called shared project, which is really cool. It uses a technique called bait and switch. So the basic premise is that you program with interfaces, and at runtime, it switches out whatever you pick as your target and switches out with the implementation, the CS files for that implementation. So Android will put your Android stuff that implements the interfaces that you specify up top that your real Xamarin application is going to talk to, and it works surprisingly well. I did a test at my previous employer, and we were doing barcode stuff. And so the first implementation I did was a shared project version. It was just, I simply had like 3 interfaces that emit the barcode reader, read something, and play a beep. And I did implementation for a jar-based implementation for Android and an iOS implementation for, it was a Objective-C library. and it just swapped out the bits and it worked fine. We ended up not doing that because Xamarin also has a really cool thing called the dependency service. And dependency service lets you at runtime pick a dependency for your given target platform too. So you get UWP, iOS, and Android, and it will just use basic dependency injection to inject the different, I want to say, interface effectively into the main class library or whatever method you're using and stuff to do things. So you have two ways to solve it. Miguel likes shared projects. He says they're simpler, which they are. They're a mechanical operation that happens when you compile the application. It's not even a runtime thing. Dependency service actually is a runtime thing, but the other implementations just aren't there. So, wait, you look skeptical, Sean. What are you looking at me for?
Well, I mean, you can do dependency service with PCL as well. The shared projects are mainly conditional compiler, right?
But they're, like I said, but you don't, if you just write them normally for iOS and Android, like for a piece of hardware, let's say, you don't have to do pragmas and stuff like that. You don't have to do if-defs. You can still do if-defs even in PCLs too. I mean, if-defs aren't prohibited. I can do an if-def inside of a shared project. So it's just a language thing. I could say if-def iOS A equals 7, and if Android A equals 10.
Well, maybe I might like PCL better if you start calling them.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Back to something what we're supposed to be doing. Okay. So we need. Good. Thank you. It's a bug I reported to. Oh, what's it going to build? I just needs to build it anyway here. Local machine. Come on. All right. So build configuration manager. Make sure this is set to deploy. Close. All right. So fingers crossed. This is going to compile the Evolve app, which remember runs on iOS, Android, and other devices. I showed this off at C# SIG last month.
Well, if they had like a test display, walk up to it. Yeah. Really show off.
Yeah. I have a Surface mounted behind something just to.
Maybe not just IoT.
There's some really skeptical people at C# SIG. They're like, no, it can't do. Yes, it can do that. So this is a straight up UWP app. You can run it on a Surface. You can run it on, obviously, a PC. But it's all the same code. The code sharing between them is probably well over 80% once you average it all out. The backend code was the least shared amount of code, but all the other front-end applications had incredibly, like the UWP version had like 98% the same code base as everything else.
Are they sharing on their VPNs?
They're just REST-based services, so
Right.
they're probably just POCOs.
Yeah. I never think it calls it.
What do I have to sign in? I have to sign into that. Well, it's more cooler if I show it that way. Neat. So this is the Evolve app. It's got a list of sessions you can attend.
The UWP run on Windows like 8.1 or 7.
No, needs 10. It's 10. All right, so in Visual Studio, what we have nowadays, if you run WPF apps, you get the same thing as a live visual tree. So, yes, I'm going to try to steal focus away. But I'm trying to get as much as on the screen as I can. So, have a big scroll viewer. You got the borders. Where's the... There you go, track focused event. So put that up front. It's not showing it. So what should be happening is you should be seeing things highlighting live over here. It works the other way. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, this is bad. It's doing okay. Yeah, it's doing it behind the scenes. It's kind of hard to see because it's stealing focus. Let's see how much more I can close. There we go. Let's make it complete. Oh, wow. I didn't know you could do that. That's kind of cool. Yeah. See, this doesn't. There we go. Let's not let us track now. I'm not doing what I want to. What you should be seeing as I click on things over here, normally what you use is you get red outlines around everything. And it should work the other direction as well. So I should be able to do this. And I should be able to pick, there we go, that's what I'm thinking of. So you can just walk around your visual tree and say, oh, show me this. And it'll click it and it'll highlight it. And I could show you more of this. It doesn't do that for you, WPF. And WPF, that's not what it should. Come on. It's not gonna get any bigger. This one? Yeah, but it's gonna override everything else. That's what I was trying to do, and it wasn't doing. It wasn't letting me scroll side to side. I'm scrolling side to side right now. I would expect it to let me stretch this out. I'll do this. Hold on. Pin it. There we go. I just won't redraw the rest of the screen now. Okay, anyway. But the idea is that on a well-behaved Windows machine, you can click on the application. It will instantly highlight what's over on the left-hand side. And if you have the XAML loaded, it will immediately take you to that piece of XAML and show it to you. And you can go edit it. And then you hit whatever the edit and continue button is on Windows, which I think is Shift F5 or maybe Control F5. And it will reload your XAML in the application, and you'll see it instantly. And we've had this, like I said, we've had this in WPF since 2013. So you're forced to 2013 apps. This will work too for you guys. Yes, please. All right. So we've done Mac, we've done UWP. All right. So I've had a lot of trouble with Gorilla Player on the device. I used it in my previous employer on the device, but it works pretty well on in the emulator, so I'm going to show you that. So there's another cool tool called Gorilla out there. And what Gorilla does is there's a player that runs on your simulator, and you run the application, it connects up, and it displays your XAML on the Gorilla, in the Gorilla application in the simulator on the device.
Is that for iOS as well as Android, or is that?
It's for iOS and for Android. My Android simulator over here does not want to connect to it for some reason. I have no idea. But the Gorilla app is on here, and it does actually try to connect up. it just sits there forever. So, but it works fine on iOS. All right, so Xamarin Studio. There's another. Here. That's interesting. Might,
Run simulator.
yeah.
It's 5S.
That's-
Xamarin Studio looks like it's 6S.
Oh, how do you pick? It's over. It's in hardware, right? Device. Yeah. Okay. Nope.
Yeah.
Click that button.
Oh. 6S. There you go. There it is. Right. So I just go to the server. Okay. All right. Disconnected. Tools. Player. Hmm.
So is Gorilla Player separate service running on OS X?
Yes, there's a little server app running. But,
Try pinging that.
Connect.
Is that what I'm on? Oh, it's,
and it is not rendering over here for some reason. That's what it should do. So basically, you get to pick a different thing, and as you pick different pieces of XAML, what should happen is it should render over here. Yay! Wow. To love. Let's try this piece by piece. All right, so that's installed, and we're running up here. All right, we put Gorilla Player on our devices. So let's actually do it manually. Again, iOS, start project. All right. And we should So. It's interesting. Yeah, maybe. Then you come over here. Load. Might click on the app. Here. Reconnect. And we get nothing. I have no clue what this is. Seriously. It's not even an app running on my machine.
Well, it's John Silver State.
In marketing.
In marketing.
He's got really good marketing.
He can't be that good. He only has 243 followers.
Keep it on one server.
Let's go.
No idea. 10 has followers.
It's got Gorilla next to it. No, it doesn't. It was in the solutions.
Yeah, that means it's connected. See, what happens is you basically make sure Gorilla, and the Gorilla thing follows you as you edit different pieces of XAML. Well, darn it. Let's unload all this XAML.
Should we beat the Gorilla?
There we go. Aha, yay. Okay, cool. All right, so all that for something very, very simple. So just to show you this is actually live, so you come over here. Okay. Change that there. You can come over here and you add non-trivial things too. So come in here where you got stack layout. Button. And it didn't have the button where I thought I was going to add it. Oh, that's in a box view. Okay, oops. Wow, this is really hard to edit. There we go. That didn't work either. Oh, ha ha ha. This is Xamarin. This is not WPF. There we go. Once again, one of those little things about Xamarin that is very annoying, and hopefully Microsoft will fix that, is that Xamarin XAML is not like WPF and UWP XAML at all. For simple stuff like that, like you expect, the inside of a set of brackets would be a content presenter, and you just put text, you put a default thing in there. You can't do that with Xamarin stuff. Hopefully they'll fix all that. All right, so that's Gorilla Player. All right. time is it? 7:33. All right. So for non-net stuff on devices too, there's JavaScript bridge things out there that I don't know the names of. There are also things for closure script in React. There's a tool called Ambly out there. Actually, you can plug it in a device and start coding in React in a REPL, and it will instantly display itself on a thing. But it's not .NET based, so I just thought I'd just mention it. Okay, so for the cool thing I'm about to show you, I'm about to show you an app called Continuous. And we've already talked about Grill Player. All right, so Continuous is an app written by a dude called Frank Krueger. The reason he's able to make this app is because, one, Roslyn came out, and two, for those of you who don't know, most of, probably 99.9% of all of Xamarin has been open sourced. So he took Xamarin.Forms and embedded it in this application that you're about to see. The application is interesting because it was written in 100% F#. Before this, he also wrote iCircuit, which is a really cool tool that lets you build circuits and simulate discrete circuitry. He built a tool called Calca, which I think he released the source code for on GitHub finally. It's an interactive spreadsheet. Imagine Excel on steroids that programmers would actually like to use, and it's an iOS thing as well. So let's start showing this. So this is why I brought the iPad. All right. You'll get the full experience. So continuous icon down there. Oh, I can't see. We're like 3 for 3 now. Reflector. That should just work. And it was just working. Okay, so this is reflector.
Restart that on this one.
Reflector.
Well, I had to restart yours.
Yeah, we had it running before we got on this network.
No, I had it. I literally sat down in here and started it up and made sure it was the right size, and you could kind of read it. Because it is going to scale my really large Retina display. There. All right, it just literally just popped up over here. There we go. Good. All right.
Running iOS 10.
Yeah. This is 10. This is not beta. Can you read that? Turn the lights off if you can't. All right, so this is continuous. So what this lets you do is kind of the same thing we were doing on workbooks, except you have kind of a more traditional code view over here. So you type in code normally here. There's a run button up here, and there's a watch window over here so you can see what it does. So what this simple app does is create a simple map view. It's fully interactive and stuff. This is iOS maps and stuff, and this is standard Xamarin stuff over here. Like I said, once again, a really nice way to be able to feel things, play with things on the fly. The cool thing this app has, is that it actually has help. So you click on this. You click on this. Ooh, all right. Something else then. There we go. It'll take you to the Xamarin documentation, and you can check it out. This is live, as I'll show you here in a second. And you get error. And this is like this is all coming from Rosalind, so no muss, no fuss. And this is us. And you basically get a live set of objects over here too, like you were getting on the, we got in workbooks, a little bit more clunkier to get to it over here. You also can run the app full screen, so you can check it out and play with it and stuff. Anything you want to do. Think what else? Like I said, this is just C#. So there's a classical console over here. You can bright line stuff too. Let's see what other projects we had. Plotting. So this is a simple plotting thing you can do. Just sets up some delegates and stuff, evaluates the functions, and plots them up here. I don't think this doesn't have any interactivity in it. Just to show you that it's live, you can do this. Plot you right there, so you can come over here and delete this. And it replots itself. So 100% live, 100%. This is, once again, this is just like workbooks, one file. That's the only, how they're going to fix that. There've been a lot of people that actually have asked for it on workbooks, and asked Frank about it too. He has the full capability of Rosalind and Xamarin Forms and stuff like that. So you actually can do kind of interesting things behind the scenes. See what other stuff else Face Picker do. Oh yeah, it's doing crossover stuff. It lets you pick faces you want to, and it makes you let them reproduce. What? I mean themes.
Like dark theme.
Oh yeah, if you want to look at that. So it has a dark theme and a light theme. You can do auto run. You can actually set it up to program C# if you want to. I mean F# stuff if you want to. There's no, hold on, I didn't check that. Are there any good F# examples on here? I wonder.
Maybe a rudimentary question, but when do you decide whether C# or F# is more appropriate project?
I would say, so functional languages not necessarily, to me at least, aren't necessarily needed for certain projects. You'll hear a lot of them used in financial stuff. You'll hear obviously the Xbox Live example. They used it for analysis of real-time Halo games all the time. So the whole engine that lets you kill somebody, store it, and play it back exactly the way it happened from any angle. That's all F# based. All the heat map analysis they did to figure out when maps were good or bad, or where people were getting spawn killed and stuff like that. That's all F#. But really, it's not. To me, it's not that. It's does your team, because obviously a team or a person is going to have to maintain this code. Do they want to reap the benefits of F# in the end? So F# is immutable by default. So if you have highly multi-threaded applications, it benefits a lot. To me, it's cognitively simpler to reason about because of immutability too. When you get a thing, it's a thing, and no one's going to jack with it anymore. I mean, how many millions of times has us developers going, wow, why did that blah, blah, blah mess with this thing, whatever that thing is? You simply got passed to us and it got changed out from underneath us and stuff like that. So, and it depends, if you want to start learning F#, it's a very easy language to pick up. A little bit different syntax and stuff. You don't think in classes as much, or the idioms are not mainly class-based and stuff. It's less of you telling the function what to do than you telling it what you want to do to the function. So instead of iterating over things, you slice things. You say, give me the range from X to Y. We're going to get this in C#7 and stuff, but it's a really nice thing to have, for example, in F#. F# has a really cool data inference thing. So literally, it can look at data and make you a POCO out the other side that it guesses from all the examples you give it. And it does this at runtime, which is really, really cool and stuff. So anyway,
Does continuous support keyboard shortcuts?
yeah, I haven't played with a lot of keyboard stuff. I mean, literally continuous, you don't have to have a keyboard. It has a, when you disconnect the,
Yeah, it'll do the pop-up keyboard.
yeah, it does. Well, no, it does. It actually has a shortcut. It has a custom keyboard. So it has like numbers over here and common operators in there. So you don't have to constantly be hitting the
Yeah.
symbol key and stuff like that. So
It looks cool. One of the things that I've really grown attached to with the iPad Pro and keyboard is just trusting on those keyboard shortcuts that, you know, you just hold down command and it'll pop up like all the keyboard shortcuts available in that
and
application.
if you buy it and you want some keyboard shortcuts, I mean, probably take Frank like 5 minutes to add them. If he's not already added them and stuff. Is anything else show off in here? This also supports Markdown and stuff, so you can put Markdown in here and then put the files up on GitHub and stuff.
How do you share these files?
I think it has iCloud support built into it, but I don't use iCloud, so.
That would be you write this thing on the continuous.
No, there's a way to share it. I've seen it. I just don't use it. Nope, not either. There you go, share file. Share code. There we go. The standard sharing thing that you get in iOS. I knew it was there somewhere. It's a different place than I thought it was going to be. All right. Oh, all right. All right, so like I said, we showed off all Gorilla Player. Like I said, Gorilla Player is a third-party app. They're not charging for it right now. The people behind it, UX Divers, they also sell a really awesome code base called UI Grill Kit. No idea what the name means, but it's a really nice set of Xamarin Form template applications that show you how you can do things like animation and other things that a lot of people say you can't do in Xamarin Forms. So they have really cool sliding effects, fading effects, all kinds of tweening animations and stuff that you can do. All right. So get out of the typey, build, deploy rut. Those of us who do mobile development know how much time it takes to deploy all the time. It's really nice to be able to sit down on a device, tweak your XAML, tweak your code a little bit, and then decide you actually want to deploy to a device for testing and stuff. If you're pairing with someone, you can test out ideas with them. If you need to figure out APIs, you don't have dozens of little projects on your folder. I know at least once or twice a month I go through my projects folder and clean out all the little test projects that I ran to figure something out. And at least with workbooks, you can document your code as you go along. So simple markdown, do your code. You can share it with your team if you want to. I think it'd be really nice to be able to start building APIs yourself and giving examples of exactly how to use it and stuff. And hopefully Microsoft and Xamarin will start doing that once the acquisition is over with and they've become acclimated to each other. Thank you all for listening to my talk. Any questions?
You didn't talk about Xamarin Forms preview. We looked at that.
Oh, yeah, I didn't show that off, did I? I played with it while I was here, and I completely did not put it in my notes. All right, let me show that real quick. Kill this. Bring up Xamarin Studio. Bring up. No, the preview for iOS definitely works over here. All right, so file. Solutions. Oh, you might be right. Should shut this down. Oh, you're right, because it's got one really cool feature of it that none of the other ones have. No, I think the previewer works over here. I want to subject y'all to the. I did it with my cool app too. We'll deploy the real version over there.
You're running an alpha.
No, we're with beta. Yes, I remember this icon. All right. This will start up that My Cool app. In the simulator. Yeah. All right, so in Simulator, you hit this, connect to the application, and it gives you kind of the same thing. It gives you basically a tree view like I showed you in there, but it gives you this really cool 3D view. So if you ever wanted to know how apps were actually layered and built in iOS, this is kind of really fascinating. You should be able to click on things. Over here. Yeah.
It's very similar to Snoop for WPF.
Exactly. Snoop for WPF.
That's actually Xamarin Inspector.
Yeah, it's called Xamarin Inspector, but like I said, Snoop has the same mode for WPF applications.
Right.
And sometimes when you're in here, it will completely horrify you. Like if you look at a date picker or something, there are literally like 77 layers to a date picker, which is completely and totally unnecessary in anyone's estimation and stuff. But you can look at stuff, you can walk the visual tree, click on things. Can you modify things over here, Sean? I can't remember.
Should be able to. It basically, workbooks run on top of Inspector.
Yeah. I have no clue what I just changed.
Try the background color.
Oh, there we go. I didn't do anything.
You have to refresh it. So refresh button in the right corner.
Is there a background color over here? There is. It's black. Something else.
Change the text on the label or something. Current title.
You didn't change it. Oh well. Maybe you can't change that. Should be able to though. Current title. Through text. Accessibility label. Now I want you to change it at all. I actually should pick things too. Oh well. All right, so that's another different way of actually looking at and dissecting an application in real time.
Can you change things in there?
Well, we thought we could. You should be able to, but it wasn't actually taking any of our changes. We try to come to the button. Hit return. It doesn't want to change it at all. So
Try changing the state.
the what?
State.
Where?
It's up here on the right. State. Almost up at the bottom.
That.
There you go.
Change it to what?
Highlight it. Highlight it.
And do what with it though?
Well, I know the title is, you have to call a function to set the title. That may be why it's not letting you change it.
Oh. So you said highlight it?
No, highlight it.
Oh. Nope. There's some magic incantation, or it doesn't work on this version. Oh, that's the other cool thing too. You have a console over here, so as you pick things, you actually can see what they are over here, and you get the same kind of rich inspector like you get over on the workbook side. Like you said, it's built on top of workbooks, or vice versa, however you want to think about it. The inspector was first, technically.
Change it here.
On the Xamarin automation framework, can you identify an object by any one of those attributes? Or only some?
No. So the way automation works on Xamarin is by, oh, it's got a weird name. So Xamarin elements have names, but you don't use them like you use them in WPF. That's not their unique identifier. Forget what it's called.
Here, the X name.
Not Xname either. You can't use that for Calabash either.
Oh, yeah.
It's called style ID. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
File ID?
Yeah, but it's not just a number. It's actually a piece of text. You can make the same as your name and not affect anything. There was some really goofy reason they didn't do that hopefully Microsoft will fix. Because I really hate giving things names because I use it in code behind occasionally when I do code behind.
You can access it with in UI test or Calabash without using style ID. It's kind of like navigating.
Well, you can navigate the children. You can do stuff like that, but
Yeah, it's
I would never. It's like saying I want to identify this button by its position.
It's a lot like CSS. What it is.
I just want my name back. I wrote UI automation tests for like 5 years with names and stuff.
Similar to the CSS selector you use in Selenium for browser-based applications.
Yeah, kind of. You would say like, give me all the buttons in this stack panel, for example,
Okay.
and things like that. You can do stuff like that.
But I saw in the latest documentation, because we were using style IDs also, they added something called an automation ID.
Yeah.
And if you look at the new
Oh,
Xamarin documentation.
that's because that is because so that is something that's going to happen in Visual Studio Enterprise. For those that's fortunate enough to use it, they're going to support the UI automation test recorder for Xamarin apps.
I think that's part of them trying to merge together.
Yeah, together.
Just as a general prejudice there is in the automation community, recording is a sign of being a rookie.
Well, yeah, but if you need to quickly explore a hierarchy and find out, like if you don't have scripts written to, like I worked at GameStop for a while, and our testers, local testers, actually had a script they wrote. They would go through and find all of our stuff in WPF that we didn't put names on, and they wanted to use it for testing and stuff. So sometimes that's the only way you can do. You just turn on the test recorder and you go click, click, click. You just click everything on the screen, and when you get nulls, you go, oh yeah, that one's not. Like sometimes I'd print out a piece of paper and circle the things that my junior programmers would like not give names to and stuff when you need them for testing things.
So in addition to the inspector that we saw, there is a XAML previewer in the alpha channel that you were talking about.
This is actually running in stable.
Yeah, but that was inspector. There's a different thing called XAML previewer that's in alpha.
It does what?
It so on the right you'll have a new section that does live previewing of your XAML, and you can even do bindings.
Oh, so it's just like Gorilla Player but built
Right.
into. Ah, okay.
Think of it like you had the design view for YAML.
Oh, okay. Right. So, but it's live
Yeah.
because you should be able to edit the XAML.
Well, design
Save
view
it.
is live. Right.
Yeah.
The other thing about it is that you can select platform and you can select tablet or phone.
Ah, that's cool. You know about that.
It's specifically for Xamarin Forms.
I mean, I ran alpha for a little bit so I could do some of the previewer and workbook stuff, but then I reverted back to beta or stable, one of those two.
But the last time I checked, it only worked in Visual Studio.
I think the opposite, actually. I think it's Xamarin Studio coming soon to Visual Studio.
The problem I ran into it is that I had to update Xamarin Forms, the NuGet package.
Yeah.
And I put a PowerShell script in the Xamarin Forms NuGet package that has to run.
Oh.
So I tried
Right.
to update the Xamarin Studio, in Xamarin Studio, and it goes, oh, well, we can't run a PowerShell script.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had that problem with we had someone who did build steps
Right.
in Visual Studio and it would not run because it was doing, copy and delete and crap like that. They weren't using the macros you're supposed to use. and
Yeah.
stuff.
I'm looking forward to getting out of alpha. It's going to be a big help.
Mm.
It's very alpha, though, unfortunately.
Right.
I noticed if you don't have the exact version of Android installed,
Yeah.
throws a fit. And at one point, Google renamed Android n.jar to something else, and there was a hard reference to it. The designer who just kind of exploded.
Yeah.
All right. Any more questions? I guess giveaway stuff.
All right. Anybody want a monkey? You have a monkey.
I feel like I was
Does anybody want shirts?
Wouldn't mind having one more.
Yeah, I need a shirt. Sure.
All right, come see me afterwards.
Are you scared to throw stuff? Here, I'll hold it.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
okay, but I'll keep.
So this is a basketball game.
I like certain sizes,
Right.
Sizes. Right. So it's all new to the group. This is our next meeting will be our third anniversary. Hooray! We're one of the older mobile.net groups.
Was Xamarin being used 2 years ago?
Yes.
Yeah, Xamarin's been around since 2000, and I used it in 2010 to do a proof of concept for a company when it was called Monotouch. And I had to run everything from the command line and effectively write shell scripts on OS X to deploy and stuff.
Yeah, Xamarin's been around for a while. I think there were 4 last year.
Yeah.
Their 4th anniversary is Xamarin.
Xamarin, yeah. Monotouch was late 2009, early 2010.
We've only been around for 3 years.
Yeah, 3 or 4
So
years.
we're gonna have a little get together instead of our normal meeting, which is on the 3rd Wednesday of the month. We're gonna meet at the Flying Saucer at 6:30. So people can get up and do little talks, lightning talks, like a 5 to 15-minute presentation. We're not gonna have a projector, so you just have to get up and talk. So if you want to talk about this app you've been working on or whatever, and we should be in a small enough room that maybe you could like show it on your phone, I guess. But if you want to talk about your app you've been working on or some things you've run into or whatever you want to talk about, let me know ahead of time, or let me know at the meeting. I'd like people to let me know ahead of time so that we have at least a few lightning talks. But we can sit around, get some appetizers, throw back a few beers. Maybe we'll have some cake.
I'll be there for this cake.
Liners allowed? Huh?
Minors allowed?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
And especially at 6:30, because it's like dinner time, so.
They do sell food there, but we're not gonna be sitting at the bar.
Well, yeah, I think we have the back room reserved, right?
Yeah,
So-
we'll have the back room reserved. Might get a little poster.
We can call and find out and post it up on the meetup group.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm actually happy that my 10th graders interested in this.